In a busy park, an elderly woman sat on a bench, struggling to open a jar of homemade jam she had brought for a picnic. She tried with all her might, but couldn't twist the stubborn lid. Nearby, a group of people sat on the grass, chatting and laughing, oblivious to her struggle. A young girl named Mia noticed the elderly woman from where she was playing with her friends. She saw the frustration on the woman's face and decided to help. Mia's mother, who was watching her, frowned slightly, worried about her daughter talking to strangers. Mia approached the elderly woman and asked, "Do you need help opening that jar?" The woman looked up, surprised but grateful, and nodded. Mia took the jar, braced it against her body, and gave it a firm twist. With a pop, the lid came off. "Thank you, dear," the elderly woman said, smiling warmly. "I used to be able to do this myself, but my hands aren't as strong as they used to be." Mia smiled back and replied, "That's okay. Everyone needs help sometimes." The people on the grass noticed what Mia had done. One of them, a young man named Tom, felt a pang of guilt. He had seen the woman struggling, but hadn't offered to help. He got up, walked over, and said, "Is there anything else you need help with?" The elderly woman shook her head, but thanked him for the offer. Tom returned to his friends, who had also witnessed the exchange. They started to talk about how they often overlooked opportunities to help others because they were too caught up in their own activities. Mia's mother, who had been watching from a distance, felt a mix of pride and shame. She realized that she could learn from her daughter's kindness and willingness to help others. Later, as Mia and her mother walked home, her mother said, "You did a wonderful thing today, Mia. You reminded me how important it is to help others, no matter how small the gesture." Mia smiled and replied, "Helping someone is like being a superhero, Mom. You can always make a difference." Her mother hugged her tightly, feeling grateful for the lesson her young daughter had taught her. From that day on, she made a conscious effort to look for ways to help others, big or small. In the end, it wasn't just Mia who had become a hero that day. Her simple act of kindness inspired everyone who saw it to be more considerate and helpful. Sometimes, it takes the smallest among us to teach the biggest lessons, reminding us that a little kindness can go a long way. In a bustling train station, an old man named Mr. Henderson struggled to navigate the crowded platform. He had a heavy suitcase and a worn-out cane, making it difficult for him to move quickly. The rush of commuters paid him little attention, focused on catching their trains. Nearby, a businesswoman named Clara hurriedly checked her watch, anxious about missing her important meeting. She noticed Mr. Henderson struggle out of the corner of her eye but brushed it off, thinking someone else would surely help him. A young boy named Alex was at the station with his mother, excited about their trip to visit his grandparents. He spotted Mr. Henderson and immediately felt a tug at his heart. "Mom, look, that man needs help," he said, pointing. Alex's mother, engrossed in her phone, looked up briefly and said, "It's none of our business, Alex. We need to get to our train." But Alex was persistent. He walked over to Mr. Henderson and asked, "Sir, can I help you with your suitcase?" Mr. Henderson looked down at the small boy, surprised and grateful. "Thank you, young man. That would be very kind of you." Alex struggled a bit, but managed to lift the suitcase. He turned to his mother, who watched the scene unfold with a mix of surprise and embarrassment. Realizing her son's determination, she finally put her phone away and joined them. "Let me help you with that," she said, taking the suitcase from Alex and smiling at Mr. Henderson. "Where are you headed?" Mr. Henderson smiled warmly. "Just trying to catch the 4:30 train to visit my daughter." Together, they walked to the correct platform. Along the way, Clara, the businesswoman, saw them and felt a pang of guilt. She had ignored someone in need, while a child had stepped up to help. Determined to make amends, she approached and offered to assist further, helping Mr. Henderson onto the train and ensuring he was comfortably seated. As the train departed, Clara, Alex, and his mother stood on the platform, feeling a sense of fulfillment. Clara turned to Alex and said, "You know, you reminded me of something important today. We should always help when we see someone in need." Alex beamed with pride. "Everyone can be a hero, right?" Clara nodded, feeling inspired. "Absolutely. And you are one of the best examples of that. From that day forward, Clara made a conscious effort to look for opportunities to help others. Alex's simple act of kindness had a ripple effect, spreading warmth and compassion in the bustling world around them. And Mr. Henderson, he arrived safely at his daughter's house, grateful for the strangers who had turned into unexpected heroes, making his journey a little easier and his heart a lot lighter. In the end, it was a young boy's determination to help that taught the adults around him a valuable lesson. Sometimes, the smallest gestures can make the biggest difference, turning ordinary people into everyday heroes. Weeks after the incident at the train station, Alex continued to share his story at school. His classmates were intrigued by his tale of helping the elderly man and the unexpected kindness that followed. Inspired by Alex, they decided to start a kindness club, where their goal was to perform acts of kindness around their community. One Saturday morning, the kindness club gathered in their school gym. Their teacher, Miss Thompson, had heard about their plan and decided to support them. She smiled as she saw the eager faces of the children. "All right, everyone, let's brainstorm some ideas on how we can spread kindness," she said. Hands shot up, and ideas flowed freely, helping at the local animal shelter, visiting nursing homes, organizing a neighborhood cleanup, and more. The children decided to start with a visit to the nearby nursing home to spend time with the elderly residents. The following weekend, the group arrived at Sunnyvale Nursing Home, armed with handmade cards, flowers, and lots of enthusiasm. They were greeted by Mrs. Lopez, the nursing home manager, who was delighted to see so many young volunteers. The children split into small groups and began visiting the residents. Alex and his friends, Jenny and Mark, were paired with Mr. Parker, a former schoolteacher with a knack for storytelling. The children listened intently as Mr. Parker shared tales from his youth, his adventures, and his love for teaching. "I used to tell my students that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted," Mr. Parker said with a twinkle in his eye. "And seeing you all here reminds me of that lesson." Alex felt a warm glow inside. "We wanted to make a difference, just like when I helped Mr. Henderson at the train station." Mr. Parker nodded. "You're doing more than you know. You're bringing joy and companionship to those who need it most." Meanwhile, Clara, the businesswoman, had been reflecting on her own behavior since the day she helped Mr. Henderson. She realized that she had become too engrossed in her work, often missing the opportunities to connect with people around her. Inspired by Alex, she decided to volunteer at the nursing home. One afternoon, Claire arrived at Sunnyvale Nursing Home, feeling a bit nervous but determined. Mrs. Lopez welcomed her warmly and introduced her to some of the residents. As Clara sat down with Mrs. Jenkins, a lively lady with a passion for knitting, she found herself relaxing and enjoying the conversation. "Why did you decide to volunteer here?" Mrs. Jenkins asked, her knitting needles clicking away. Clara smiled. "A young boy taught me that sometimes we need to step out of our busy lives and help others. It made me realize how much I was missing." Mrs. Jenkins nodded. "Wise words from a young soul. We all need reminders now and then." As the weeks went by, the nursing home visits became a regular activity for the Kindness Club and Clara. The children formed bonds with the residents, sharing stories, playing games, and learning valuable lessons about life and empathy. Clara found a new sense of purpose and joy in her interactions with the elderly, feeling a deeper connection to her community. One day, as Alex and his friends were leaving Sunnyvale, they ran into Mr. Henderson, the man Alex had helped at the train station. He was visiting a friend at the nursing home. "Mr. Henderson," Alex exclaimed, delighted to see him. "How have you been?" Mr. Henderson smiled warmly. "I've been well, thanks to you. That day at the train station changed everything for me. It reminded me of the goodness in people." Alex beamed. "It changed things for me too. We started a kindness club at school, and now we're here, spreading kindness wherever we can." Mr. Henderson looked around at the happy faces of the residents and the volunteers. "It seems you've made a big impact. Keep up the good work, Alex. The world needs more kindness." As Alex and his friends waved goodbye to Mr. Henderson, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. They realized that their small acts of kindness were creating a ripple effect, touching lives in ways they hadn't imagined. Back at school, the Kindness Club continued to grow, inspiring more students to join their mission. They organized various activities, from charity drives to community events, always focused on spreading kindness and compassion. Miss Thompson, proud of her students, decided to share their story with the local newspaper. Soon, the story of the Kindness Club was featured in the community section, highlighting the children's efforts and the impact they were making. The article caught the attention of many in the community, including local businesses and organizations. Donations poured in to support the club's activities, and offers of collaboration came from various groups wanting to join their cause. Clara, now a dedicated volunteer, decided to use her business skills to help the Kindness Club grow. She organized a fundraiser, bringing together the community to support the children's efforts. The event was a huge success, raising enough funds to expand their activities and reach even more people in need. One evening, as Clara and the members of the Kindness Club gathered to celebrate their achievements, Alex stood up to speak. "I want to thank everyone for believing in our mission. It all started with a small act of kindness, and now, how much we've accomplished together. It's continued to spread kindness and make our community a better place for everyone." The room erupted in applause, and Clara felt a deep sense of pride. She realized that the simple act of helping Mr. Henderson at the train station had set off a chain reaction of goodness, transforming not only her life, but also the lives of many others. As the evening drew to a close, Clara approached Alex and his mother. "Thank you, Alex. You've taught me and so many others the true power of kindness." Alex smiled. "We all have the power to make a difference. We just need to start with one small act." Together, they looked out at the crowd of smiling faces, knowing that their community was a little brighter, a little kinder, and a lot more connected because of their efforts. And as they continued their journey of spreading kindness, they knew that they were creating a legacy that would inspire future generations to come. As the Kindness Club continued its mission, their influence began to spread beyond their local community. News of their activities reached neighboring towns, sparking a wave of interest in starting similar clubs. Alex and his friends were invited to speak at various schools and community centers, sharing their story and encouraging others to join the movement. One day, they received an invitation from a nearby city to participate in a regional conference on community service and volunteerism. The conference organizers were impressed by the impact of the Kindness Club and wanted the children to present their journey and experiences to a broader audience. Excitement buzzed through the school as preparations for the conference began. Miss Thompson helped the children prepare a presentation, complete with photos and stories of their various acts of kindness. Clara offered to drive them to the conference and helped organize their materials. On the day of the conference, Alex, Jenny, Mark, and the rest of the Kindness Club members were both nervous and excited. They arrived at the large conference hall, amazed by the number of people gathered there. Representatives from different schools, community organizations, and local government officials were in attendance. The children took their seats at the front of the room, waiting for their turn to present. As they listened to other speakers, they felt inspired by the various ways people were working to improve their communities. When it was finally their turn, Alex took a deep breath and stepped up to the podium. "Hello everyone, my name is Alex, and we are the Kindness Club from Sunnyvale Elementary," he began. "Our journey started with a simple act of kindness at a train station, which led to the formation of our club. Since then, we've been visiting nursing homes, helping at animal shelters, organizing neighborhood cleanups, and more." As Alex and his friends shared their stories, the audience was captivated. They talked about the joy they brought to the elderly residents at Sunnyvale Nursing Home, the sense of accomplishment they felt after cleaning up their neighborhood park, and the bonds they formed with each other and the people they helped. One of the audience members, Mrs. Whitaker, a city council member, was particularly moved by their presentation. She approached the children after their talk and praised their efforts. "You all have done something truly remarkable. Your kindness and dedication are inspiring. I'd like to propose that we start a citywide initiative to encourage more acts of kindness, using your club as a model." The children were thrilled at the idea. Mrs. Whitaker suggested they meet with other city officials and community leaders to discuss how they could expand their efforts. Clara, seeing the potential for even greater impact, offered to help coordinate the initiative. Over the next few weeks, meetings were held, and plans were made. The citywide initiative, called Kindness Connects, was launched with the goal of encouraging residents of all ages to participate in acts of kindness. Schools, businesses, and community organizations joined forces to support the movement. The Kindness Club members found themselves busier than ever, but they were energized by the growing momentum. They continued their regular activities while also helping to organize larger events, such as community fairs and charity runs, all focused on promoting kindness and compassion. One of the highlights of the initiative was a Day of Kindness, where volunteers from all over the city participated in various service projects. The children led teams that visited nursing homes, cleaned up parks, delivered meals to the homeless, and more. The event was a huge success, bringing people together and fostering a strong sense of community spirit. The impact of the Kindness Connects initiative was profound. Reports of decreased crime rates, improved neighborhood relations, and increased volunteerism poured in. The city felt more united, and residents were proud of the positive changes happening around them. One evening, as Alex and his friends reflected on their journey, they marveled at how far they had come. "It's amazing to think that all of this started with one small act of kindness," Jenny said. "We've learned so much, and met so many incredible people along the way." Mark nodded. "And it's not just about what we've done. It's about how we've inspired others to do the same. That's the real power of kindness." Miss Thompson, who had been a guiding force for the children, smiled proudly. "You've all shown that even the smallest acts can create a ripple effect, touching countless lives. Remember, the impact of your kindness will continue to grow, reaching far beyond what you can see." As the Kindness Club members looked out at their city, now more vibrant and connected than ever, they knew that their journey was far from over. They had created a legacy of kindness that would inspire future generations to come, proving that with compassion and determination, they could make the world a better place, one small act at a time. Years later, as Alex, Jenny, and Mark grew up, they carried the lessons of the Kindness Club with them. They continued to be active in their communities, always looking for ways to help others and spread kindness. They inspired their friends, families, and even their own children to join the movement, ensuring that the spirit of the Kindness Club lived on. And in the city of Sunnyvale, the Day of Kindness became an annual tradition, a celebration of the power of compassion and the enduring legacy of a group of children who believed that kindness could change the world. Thank you for watching and listening. Your support means a lot. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future.